I'm not accusing you of stealing. I can see the handle sticking out of your purse. Long. About a month ago, there was more theft than normal going on in the makeup store I work at, and it's because of the fact that it was winter break. Unfortunately, when the teenagers in my area get a bit of free time, they feel it's appropriate to use it to come into our store and steal from us. We were finding wrapper after wrapper, box after box stuffed under aisles and in displays. It was really annoying because it reflects really poorly on the hours we get. Anyways, towards the end of Christmas break, we started to slow down. People had bought all their presents and spent their gift cards, so there wasn't much going on, except for on the night in question. Me, my manager, who we'll call M, and my two coworkers, C1 and C2, were the only employees there. We were only an hour from close, and there was maybe 2 or 3 customers meandering around the store. I was replacing all the trash bags while my coworkers were cleaning up the register area. At my store, it's sort of an unspoken rule that we make a point of greeting every single person who comes through the front doors. So, when a group of 3 teenage girls came through, both my coworkers greeted them. They did what all the teenagers who come in to steal do. They don't acknowledge the greeters in hopes of coming off unapproachable. But my coworkers are seasoned retailers, so they immediately get on the walkie-talkies and alerted me to keep an eye out. C1, hey op, C2, and I just said hi to those girls, and they were acting a little weird. You might want to stay in that area and keep an eye on them. Op, I will. I'll leave the trash over in the corner and I'll pick it up later. I didn't want the girls to feel like I was following them just in case we were wrong and they really just didn't want to be talked to, so I stood in the aisle on the left side of the aisle they were in. I had a direct view of them, but they would have had to come stand at the very end to see me. At first, they were just having a bit of fun, spraying our hand sanitizer testers at each other and opening the sugar scrubs to smell them. Nothing I really care about. But then the sound of a crinkling wrapper made me lean in closer to look at what was going on. I noticed that the girl ripping the packet open was also holding a Starbucks cup, one of the white ones with a flat lid for hot drinks. I watched as she took the hand sanitizer out of its packaging and removed the lid from her drink. I watched her put the hand sanitizer in the drink cup and replace the lid. I knew I was going to have to tell my manager. Op, does M have a walkie-on? Because I just watched one of these girls steal a hand sanitizer. M, yeah, I do. Where are they? Op, they're in the bath aisles. I think they're gonna head up to the front soon. Unfortunately, that wasn't entirely correct. The girls rounded the corner of the next aisle, the one which housed all our hairbrushes. A different girl, one with one of those Loungefly bags, unzipped it and put one of our Harry Potter-themed hairbrushes in her bag. It didn't even zip all the way. She tried to zip it up hard, but the end of the handle stuck out, only slightly. They promptly abandoned that aisle and started making their way to the front of the store. Op, M, they're coming up right now. They put something in that drink cup, and there's something in the backpack too. Now, we're not allowed to accuse people of stealing. We can get into trouble if we're incorrect, and we're definitely not allowed to hold them back from leaving. So I wasn't sure what my manager could do, but I wanted her to be aware. They made it up to the door when my manager stopped them, asking something she asks everyone who leaves our store empty-handed. The girls are G1, G2, and G3. M, was there something we could help you guys find today? G1, no, you guys don't have what we want. M, oh okay, well, is there any way I can get back the stuff you took from us, so I don't have to trespass you from the store? G2, are you accusing us of stealing? We didn't take anything. M, I'm not accusing you. I can see one of my hairbrushes sticking out of your friend's bag. The girls all just sort of looked at each other, not sure what to do. Eventually, the girl with the backpack ripped the hairbrush out of it and handed it to my manager. They started to walk past her to the door when my manager stopped them again. M, can you please give me whatever you put in that cup? Then you can go. The girl with the cup huffed and rolled her eyes. Nevertheless, she opened it and took out the hand sanitizer that was now covered in what looked to be hot chocolate or maybe really sugary coffee. She put it in my manager's hand. If you guys come back with your parents, I'm gonna have a talk with them cause this is really ridiculous, girls. They all left really quickly and we got to go about our business for the rest of the night. Could have been worse, but we never really get the stuff back people steal from us, so I wanted to share. No more price matching. I don't know how I haven't posted here sooner. I've been working at my local liquor store for a year and some change now, and in my time there, I have had to deal with some really stupid people. No one is more stupid or infuriating than this one man. When I started, our store did price matching to other liquor store chain and a local, state-specific grocery store, amongst a couple other places. Josh would come in every couple of months to get 2-4 bottles of a specific wine and price match it to local grocery chain. I have dealt with this man at least 10 times in the last year, and he was somehow always my problem, and it was the most infuriating experience each time. First encounter. I was still new, so I was watching my coworker, whom I'll call Alex, deal with him. Josh gives Alex a receipt from LGC showing the price of the wines. Alex tells him that we're no longer allowed to accept receipts, I assume because people were bringing in sales prices from months ago, but he'll do it this time. In the future, he needs to just show us the price online. Josh isn't happy about this but accepts it and moves on. I get to learn how to do price matching. Second encounter. Josh remembers that we can't take receipts anymore and shows us the price online. I watch as my coworkers Alex and Blake explain to him that he's not on LGC's website but on Google, and he needs to click on what he's pointing to actually get in the website. Josh doesn't like this and insists that he's correct. The item he had looked up wasn't even the same item he was trying to buy. While Alex argues with Josh, just trying to get him to click onto LGC's website, Blake just pulls up the website on our register, which is just a normal computer with our POS program on it, and is like, I got it. In the future, you should consider downloading the LGC app to make it easier. This man refuses to believe he's incorrect and that Google is LGC's website. He gets his price-matched wine and leaves. I'm pretty sure Alex did finally get him to click on it. I watched the whole thing happen and just bit my tongue cause after 5 years in a different, toxic retail environment, I didn't think it was my place appropriate to step in. Several encounters ensue in which he shows us the app, and every time he feels the need to mention that he can't use receipts anymore, and that we told him to download the app. Cut to a shift in management, and now we cannot accept people showing us apps to get price matches, presumably because people were screenshotting sale prices or because of in-app user coupons, and now we need to look up the prices ourselves via the registers. I'm sure that'll go over well. Third encounter and every subsequent one. I've been there for about a half a year now, and Blake no longer works the registers, working a wholesale position in the back of the store. I have the displeasure to inform Josh as he shoves his phone in my face that we no longer accept the app and that we have to look it up ourselves. He's flabbergasted. I explain what I think the reasoning is behind its screenshots, and he's confused. What's a screenshot? You can do that. For the record, this man is at most in his 50s. He is not that old. He then proceeds to go on and on about how we told him he had to get the LGC app, and now we're not honoring that. To add insult to injury, for some strange reason no one understands, the LGC website says the wine is $1 more than it is in the app and in store. I checked. I get to argue with Josh every couple of months for the next year about how our policy has changed, and how I don't know why the app and the website have different prices, but I have to go by what the website on my own computer says. He's talked to every associate in the store, including the manager who's told him at least twice herself, and he gets the same answer. And he continues to insist that this is messed up cause we told him to download the app, and he tells all his friends and family to come to us. At this point, I don't even put on a customer service act with him because I'm so fed up with repeating myself. One time, Alex saw him pull into the parking lot and proclaimed, "Not it," before hiding in an aisle so he didn't have to deal with him. TBF, I don't blame him. It was always, "As I told you last time, sir." And this man baffled the hell out of me. Why doesn't he just go to the LGC if we're robbing him or whatever he thinks? No one had any clue. In fact, one of my coworkers told me that there was an LGC closer to his house that we were to him, and he still made the drive to our store to argue about price matching. It got to the point where he once said, "Well, I'll remember that for next time," and I almost looked him dead in the face and replied, "I look forward to having this conversation a seventh time." Until July of this year, we received the best news. We were no longer doing price matching. I was ecstatic and prayed that I'd be the one to tell him, and I was. Josh comes in to get his wine. I ring him up. "Oh, and let me just pull up the LGC app that you guys told me to download." "I'm sorry, sir, but unfortunately we no longer price match as of 2 days ago." He was so upset. He experienced the entire spectrum of human emotion. He went from happy to confused to sad to angry. Pretty sure he went through the stages of grief. But finally he relented, accepting that shit changes, and at least he was getting 10% off for an in-store promotion we have. The other day I passed by that wine was stocking and thought, I haven't seen that guy in a while. Maybe he finally stopped shopping here. Nope, he came in the store today and asked me about price matching. My manager was on the register next to me, just watching me like she couldn't believe this was happening. I politely and happily told him again that we stopped price matching a few months ago. He looked so shocked, as if he hadn't heard this before. But at this point, I was just so glad I was never going to have to argue with this man again that my petty ass just enjoyed the look of disappointment, of utter betrayal on this man's face. He once again tried to say something about us telling him to download LGC's app, and I politely reminded him that the last time I saw him, I informed him that if he wasn't using the app for LGC products, he was free to delete it off his phone because we weren't taking it anymore ever at all. I had to tell him twice, but I told all my friends and family. I just told my 2 neighbors. Well, I guess I'll have to tell them the prices went up at the liquor store. They didn't, but okay. Here's your wine. He left in a good mood, if not a little heartbroken maybe, but whatever. My manager praised me for handling that well, and then we joked about having to have this conversation again in a couple months, and that I summoned him. To be fair, in my 6+ years of retail experience, Josh is by far not the worst customer I've had, and he's never left the store in a huff. By the end of 99% of the interactions I had with him, he was chipper, and only once did he get angry enough to yell. I still dislike him though. There was even one time we were out of his wine, but he insisted I check the magical realm that is, the back, and he realized after a year of interactions that I had the same name as his mother. I said I'd go check the back, and he laughed and said, "Okay, thanks Mom." I texted our work group chat immediately and said I would never help him again. Update: Josh came back in today. He didn't say a word about price matching or LGC or anything. We talked about the pork chops he was cooking and how some people use wine in cooking, a concept that seems to escape him. It was refreshing, and I feel like a cycle has been broken. Law. This is a robbery. Some background. I'm a manager in a cash-only business in a city where lots of businesses have transitioned to being cashless because of theft issues. We do not have that option. Because of the nature of our store, we see all kinds of people, from grouchy grandmas with hip pain to the guys panhandling for money on the street. We have a pretty low bar for acceptable behavior, but 100% authority to refuse service to anyone being an asshole, because our boss would rather us be treated right than make $50 off some tourist who thinks they're in the Wild West, because they're allowed to buy something that's illegal where they live. Despite that, or maybe because that rule gives us the power to push through bad interactions, we're known as one of the more lenient shops. We deal with a lot of people who are in the middle of psychotic episodes and frequently have problematic tourists that think the law doesn't apply to them. You know the type. I'm the kind of person that gets incredibly calm in those situations. I will gentle parent you if you're acting like a child, and if you're screaming in my face about how I am a lizard person, I will calmly ask clarifying questions to distract you while acting as a sheep dog, slowly guiding you to the exit to GTFO my shop. It works pretty much every time and is way more effective than yelling back. The last time we had to call the cops on someone getting violent, they didn't show up for 2 hours. There's an alternative service for mental health issues that we would much prefer to use, but we've called them on several occasions, and the dispatchers answer, if they answer, and immediately hang up. So you learn to deal with these things on your own. That's all to say that 5 years of this, and another 10 in overall customer service, has drastically affected my fight-or-flight response and general will to live. I'm sure many can relate. So the other day, I'm sitting at the front to greet people and check IDs. It had been a while since a customer walked in, but then this man entered. He had a ball cap, messy backpack, and a big baggy jacket with deep pockets. It was almost 90 outside. He looked like one of the transient street kids we have in the area, so I didn't think too much of it. I gave him the standard, "Hey, how's it going?" And he looks at me with dead eyes, hands in his pockets, and says flatly, "This is a robbery." I know I heard him correctly, but as soon as he said that, the calm took over my body, and I went into an unexpected defense mode. I played dumb. "Huh." I said, "This is a robbery," same flat tone and expression. You can see on the cameras when my primal instincts kick in. My stance shifts and I open up my posture. I call this poofy kitty stance. Get bigger, be intimidating, but I'm a 55 average-sized woman and this guy was at least 6. But my brain is still in calm mode. Trying to sound as confused as possible, I said, "I'm not really sure what you want me to do about that." And he just stared at me for several seconds. I stared back, genuinely unsure what was about to happen next, but mentally preparing to lock myself into this room alone with him and trying not to let that show on my face. And then he broke. "It was a joke, I'm joking. I guess you don't understand dry humor." "Excuse me, what?" "Nope, that's not a joke." "It was. You just obviously don't get dry humor." He got incredibly flustered and instantly started giving off every classic nice guy vibe, repeating himself and emphasizing dry humor. Calling it dry humor does not make it a joke. You walked into a business and threatened to rob us. It's 2023 in the US. Man, it wouldn't have been funny before, but you really can't say that kind of thing these days, I say, and kindly remind him of the security cameras all over the store. He started backtracking hard and even gave me his ID when I asked. While he rifled through his bag, I saw pretty much everything and didn't notice a weapon, but that doesn't mean it wasn't there. He only wanted some accessory items, and because I didn't want to escalate the situation any further in case he snapped, I just sold him the stuff and sent him on his way. I still don't think he was joking. I think he expected to be able to walk into a store with an all-female staff and intimidate his way through a robbery, but when I didn't freak out, he backtracked and got defensive. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's just an idiot with zero social awareness. And in his defense, my coworkers did have a good laugh because, fun fact, my sense of humor is painfully dry and dark, so they thought it was hilarious that he said that to me of all people. Anyone else deal with people joking like this? TLDR, man came into my store and said, "This is a robbery." I played dumb until he backtracked and said he was joking. "No, you cannot have a $3,500 fridge for $1,800. This happened back in 2012 at a now-dead big box chain that anchored malls. The company was in decline, but it was still the largest retailer in large home appliances. Our store was in a more affluent area, and out of all of the stores I worked in, this one had the most entitled customers. I was a commissioned salesperson, but I was senior enough that I had an approval card and would handle general customer service issues. A customer C and his wife W had bought a store-brand side-by-side refrigerator for $1,800. It arrives, and unfortunately it's a lemon. The compressor won't engage at all. Normally, in these cases, the delivery team would automatically set up a next-day delivery for a working one. Nope. The customers refuse. Store brand has insulted their very existence. They will never buy store brand again. They come to the store and tell me their tragic tale. Their lives have been turned absolutely upside down by this horrible tragedy. They have picked out a new fridge, a name brand which retailed for $2,000. They had a friend recommend it to them, and all of the reviews and industry ratings looked great. But here's the catch. It's the exact same fridge. Name brand makes the store brand side-by-sides, and this happened to be the exact twin model. I tried to avoid taking a $200 hit. Me, sure, we could do that exchange, but I wanted to make sure that you're aware that name brand actually makes our store brand side-by-sides. They have the exact same compressor. You'd save $200 if you kept the store brand, and you'd still end up with the same fridge. See, I know that. I don't care. I am never having another store brand in my home ever again. And we're not paying that $200. It's not our fault that you sent us a faulty product. Now we have to wait, and it's frankly insulting that you'd even imply I should pay the difference. I know the name brand often goes on sale for $1,800, so I am safe to give it for the same price. As I'm double-checking that I have the margin to make the discount, I notice something. It's backordered. It will be over 2 weeks before name brand can deliver. Me, while normally you would need to pay the price difference, I understand how upsetting this is. For your inconvenience, I can offer an even exchange. I did notice that name brand is currently out of stock on this model, so it will be another week before we can deliver. Does that work for you? You would think I had kicked their freaking dog. W gasps and covers her mouth. C turns an interesting shade of red. See that? That is outrageous. That will absolutely not work. You expect us to live without a fridge for a week. I will point out now that they still had their old fridge, which was in working condition. Me, sorry, but I really don't have a way to get one faster. The manufacturer doesn't have any at all until the next batch are ready. W, but customer name, we need it now. See, do you see that? My wife is about to cry. We need to find another solution. Me, well, we do have more fridges available across multiple brands. I'd be happy to show you other options in the same range. This is where I think they were trying to rip us off. They immediately go for other brands' top-of-the-line French door refrigerator. It's not even in the same category. The thing is on sale for $3,500. See, I think this one got good reviews. It in fact had some of the best reviews. Is it available? Me, it looks like it is. We're still early enough I could have it delivered tomorrow. The difference comes to $1,700. Did you want to put that on your store card? The wife's jaw drops to the floor. W, what do you mean the difference? See, you said you'd do an even exchange. Me, well, yes, on the name brand side by side. This is a completely different brand, and it's not even the same type of fridge. I can't do an even exchange, but we will waive the 15% restocking fee and refund the delivery fee for the trouble. See, I want a manager now. I call the department manager, who is equally confused at the demand. He offers to take off the same $200 we would have for the name brand. Of course, that's rejected with prejudice. He takes it up to 15%. That's $525. But no, they demand an even exchange. He's now at the point he has to flat out refuse. Manager, that's not something I can do. You can get the store brand tomorrow, you can wait a week for the name brand, or you can get the other brand tomorrow after paying the $1,175 difference. What works best for you? W, with tears in her eyes, you, this is bait and switch, bait and switch. She literally screamed this next bit, to the point it echoed into the mall entrance. W, bait and switch. As she did this, the manager was calmly doing something on his tablet. I will never forget this. Once she's done screaming, He hands her the tablet with a dictionary definition of bait and switch. Manager, ma'am, you seem confused. A bait and switch would be us advertising one product that isn't actually available for us to sell, and then trying to get you to buy something else. I can get you that store brand anytime you want. W is visibly confused for a second, and then she shoves the tablet back into the manager's hands. She takes her phone out of her purse, hands shaking. W, you know what? I'm calling my lawyer. I'm going to tell my lawyer about your bait and switch. And that was it. Manager and I look at each other. I swear he was holding back a smile. Manager, I'm sorry, but since you have decided to pursue legal channels, we can no longer assist you at the store level. I can get you the number for our corporate legal team. You'll need to direct any further questions to them directly. W, no, you're going to talk to my lawyer right now and... Manager, I can't continue this conversation. I'll notify the delivery team to cancel your order. You'll get a refund to your original card. It might take 3-4 business days for your provider to show the refund. C, looking mildly concerned. Now hold on, my wife jumped the gun a little, W, no, I am calling our lawyer. We are not going to be taken advantage of. Manager, I'm sorry, but we can't keep interacting with you. C, but... At this point, my manager and I walked away. The lady sat over in mattresses, apparently waiting for her lawyer to answer for a few minutes. Her lawyer must not have cared too much for her business because he apparently never answered. Her husband awkwardly paced small appliances before he walked back to her. He wildly gesticulated while whispering to her until they left. Transaction was refunded and I never saw them again. Remember this, fellow retail travelers. A customer threatening legal action is always the fastest excuse to get out of an annoying situation.